Hello, everyone, and welcome to Salima Speaks. Guess what? This is my 100th taping of Salima Speaks show. Yay!
Wow!
Yes, and I have an amazing guest on here. I have radio personality and so much more, Mr. Simone Malone. Hello, Simone.
Hello, Salima. What a delight to be on your show.
Yes, you're my 100th guest.
Oh, my goodness, and congratulations for
Thank
the
you.
100 taping.
Yes.
Boy,
yes.
you have been working.
Yes, thank you. My first guest actually here was Billy Paul.
Wow.
Yes, the famous Billy Paul, me and Mrs. Jones. Yeah, he's my first guest, and you're my 100th guest. So
Well,
welcome.
I am humbly honored that you asked me to be on your show, Salima
Yes,
Speaks. You are
definitely.
making a
Definitely.
difference.
Trying to. Thank you. And you know what? First, I want to ask you, Simone Malone. Is that your birth name?
Absolutely. My entire name is Anthony Simone Malone.
Okay.
Which actually rhymes.
Right.
But I go by my middle name a lot because of what I do in the media. People can remember
yeah,
that.
I love that. Because I said that's the first thing I want to ask. Because when I've been telling people coming, they said they're his real names.
Absolutely. It's Irish and Italian, believe it or not.
Okay,
So,
stunning.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and what do you, I mean, you do so many things, but give us some,
Sure.
and first of all, where are you from originally?
I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. I was
Okay.
born in West Philadelphia.
So was I, my last guest too, okay?
Oh, wow.
A lot of good stuff.
Amazing. Yeah, I
Okay.
was born and raised in Philadelphia in the Winfield section.
Okay.
I am the youngest of 6 children that my mother, the lady evangelist Jessie Malone, had.
Okay.
And I am, it's 5 boys and 1 girl.
Oh.
And I turned that milestone of 50 this year.
Great, congratulations.
So I'm in the 50 club.
All right.
For all those that are in the 50 club.
Okay.
But I feel like I'm 25. And I was, born and raised in a very spiritual family. My mother was an evangelist growing up as a kid. And
So you were raised with both parents?
with both parents,
Oh, great.
mother and father. My
Great.
father's still living, he's 85.
Oh, wow.
And
Bless his
mother
heart.
passed at age 60 from leukemia.
Okay.
And passed down her legacy to me of ministry of what I do when it comes to radio and uplifting and encouraging people. I carry her mantle of evangelism. When I was growing up as a kid, my mother always said I was special because I had the gift of communication.
Right.
To be able to, inspire and encourage people as a little kid. So I was brought up in a God-fearing family. Went to school in Philadelphia, the public school system. I was an athlete. I played football.
Oh, wow.
And I ran
Okay.
track. And after I finished high school, I went to Temple University for a short time. But what happened when I went to Temple University, I was offered a job in radio.
Okay.
Right out of high school.
Really?
So trying to go to school, college full-time and work part-time, I said, how can I do this? It was hard. Let me tell you what I did.
Well, let me ask you
Sure.
this real quick
Sure.
before you get into your story. Being raised in West Philadelphia, how did you get around the gang war? Because during our time, it was the gang war and all they were recruiting people. How did you get away from that, or did you get away from that?
It was never a part of me.
Okay.
I was very focused as a kid growing up.
Okay.
I never got involved in negativity.
But you were aware of that.
Oh, sure.
But
sure,
did
absolutely.
did anybody ever come to you and try to recruit
Never,
you or anything?
never.
Really?
I was never influenced by negativity
Good
of
for you.
gangs,
Good for
drugs,
you.
or anything like that. I was a very strong kid growing up because I
Okay.
always felt good about myself.
Oh, so
growing
good.
up in a family with 2 parents there
Right.
that taught good morals and
Right.
values,
Okay.
that really makes a difference.
It does. Yes, it does.
It makes a
Yes,
difference.
it does.
puts something into your
It does.
spirit.
It does.
You know?
Because I was raised by 2 very good parents
Sure.
also. And when I found out, I'm 63 in a few weeks.
Oh, happy
October
birthday
23rd. Thank
early.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
And during my time, I actually thought that more parents were together. I thought that more people were raised by both parents. And I found out talking to women my age that they weren't.
Right.
And it does make such a big difference to have your mother and father.
Absolutely.
Women do need a father, people. Makes a big difference.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
So and then when I left, like I said, real quick, I was at Temple University and I got the job offer coming out of high school because I went to William Penn High School,
Okay.
where I studied broadcasting. Because I knew at a very early age that I wanted to go into the media. I knew that this was something that I felt was a part of who I was.
Right.
So I started in broadcasting at the age of 15, and then I got my first job right out of high school working part-time for a radio station, WTMR, in Camden, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. I've
So
heard of that.
Yeah, I worked there part-time while I was trying to go to Temple University full-time. But listen, you know what happened? I hit a roadblock. I said, either I'm going to work or go to college full-time. So
Okay.
being so excited as a young broadcaster at age 17 years old on the radio, I said, I want to be on the radio.
Of course.
So I dropped out of Temple
Okay.
and got and worked part-time hosting my own gospel show called the Malone Gospel Show
Really?
at WTMR.
Okay.
And then after working there for a couple of years, something hit me and said, listen, you need to get your college education.
Exactly.
Because in order to be successful in this field, with experience, you have to have a degree.
Right.
I can't be on TV, I can't teach, I can't do the kind of things that God has given me the opportunity to do without having the educational component behind it.
Exactly.
So I talked to a friend of mine who went to Shaw University,
Okay.
and he said, Simone, think about leaving Philadelphia. I said, I want to leave my part-time job? Yeah, for my education.
Okay.
And I got accepted to Shaw University in 1991 and graduated from there and went to college there, did radio there, was a success on campus, and got my degree in 1995 with other credits that I've done towards my master's in mass communications. In my
Okay,
career,
so you do have your master's?
not yet. I don't have
Okay.
my master's. I have credits towards it.
Okay.
But I have my baccalaureate degree in mass communications with a lot of credentials behind
And you
it.
plan to go back?
I plan on going back, even where I am, to finish. People said I should have gotten my doctorate by now with the experience I have. It's balancing the time to be able to do that with everything, you know, that I'm doing, you know, running the radio station online, my other job in forensics mental health, and being a TV host as well.
And you know, it's never too late because
No.
I'm going back to school also.
Yeah.
I had to drop out of college. I was going to Cheney, and because my parents, my mother was depressed, my father was blind, so I had to take drop out of college to take care of them. I don't regret it, but I'm going back. It's never too late.
Never too late.
Yeah.
So that's really you know a little bit about my life and you know I've always been passionate about my career. I knew, like I said, very early on what I wanted to do, and a lot of people have a difficult time understanding what they really want to do, even adults.
right.
But I realized at a very early age that I wanted to get into communications, and now up to this year, it brings 30 years.
Really?
That I have been doing broadcasting.
And is that mostly in Philadelphia?
I've done radio in Camden, New Jersey. I've done radio in North Carolina, and I also did radio in Kent, Ohio, at Kent State School of Journalism, and anchored the news there when I
Really?
received the fellowship. Yes, some years ago when I was at Kent State School of Journalism, about 15 of us were awarded a fellowship, and I was one of the 15 out of the country to be able to go there to get paid and also to learn some detailed information about journalism. And I end up being there not knowing that I was going to be on radio, but because of my experience and personality, meeting people, they said, we need to put you on the radio.
Oh,
and I did
wow.
radio while I was there for the 3 months, and I hosted the news show that was there and won a anchor reporting award there while I was there for the fellowship. So this was
And that was
all
in
a part-
Ohio?
In Ohio at Kent State
Okay,
School
so
of
you
Journalism.
lived there for a while.
For about 3 months
Okay.
while I was there for the fellowship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how did you like it there?
Oh, it was amazing. I learned a lot about, you know, a diversified community at Kent State School of Journalism. It's a very, very huge campus. You have to be on a bus to even get around.
Okay.
And I just learned a lot about journalism. I learned a lot about understanding print media, understanding the news, you know, with experts that were there to teach us.
Okay. And I want to talk to you a little bit
Sure.
about your book here. I just skimmed through it. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't read it, but I want a copy.
You going to get one?
It's very good.
Thank you.
It's very good. I just skimmed through it, and a lot of things that I do with this show, I've seen in here. And I honestly, I have to get a copy.
Don't worry,
Very,
you're gonna
very
have one.
good
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
And so, but you also mentioned mental health. How did you get into mental health, and what do you do actually with mental health?
Sure. I've been in mental health now 27 years. When I first started mental health, well, let me go back.
Yeah, because you went from radio to mental health.
Well, you know, there are two careers that I work in. This is
Okay.
truly my passion, and
Okay.
I do love working in mental health as well.
Right.
We all have an assignment in life.
Yes.
And sometimes your assignment can be expanded.
Exactly.
And when I got out of college, I was working in radio, but I realized that I had the ability to teach people, so I worked in the Philadelphia school system teaching special ed.
Really?
As a substitute teacher.
Okay.
And that kind of got me into mental health, dealing with troubled youth,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with young people that have challenges.
Right.
And I realized that I had a gift at working with that, at helping young people to feel better about themselves.
Right.
So that's what kind of got me into mental health. I taught at a vocational school, and with troubled youth. And then as I was still exploring and networking even for my career, I was given an opportunity to be a program director in mental health with no experience.
Really?
I don't know what they saw in me, but I guess they saw some leadership and things like that. So I was a program director for the Mental Health Association of Southeastern Pennsylvania.
And I have to piggyback
Sure.
on that. I always talk about that. Black men need black therapists. Okay, in the black community, it's frowned on to see a therapist. Oh, you're crazy. You know, why are you
Right.
seeing a therapist? In the white community, it's a rite of passage. You know, if you're
Right.
13, you don't have a therapist. It's like, what's wrong with you?
Sure.
We need mental health.
Absolutely.
We need it in the black community. Black men need therapists. But I must say this, Simone, they need black men therapists.
Wonderful.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I
I'm
know
glad you said that.
the few black men that I do know
Sure.
that have gone to therapists that were not black, the first thing they do is put them on all kinds of meds. It's not solving their problems, it's putting them on the meds. So black men need black men therapists because you understand what black men go through. Even though you were raised with both parents, you still understand the black male experience and United States of America. So black men need black therapists. And I
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me just say this, Salima, and for those that are watching your show, that therapy is good.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with
Exactly.
people having therapy.
Right.
Don't think that you're crazy because you're going to a therapist.
Exactly.
We all have been traumatized by something in our
Exactly.
lives.
Exactly.
And we need someone to talk to.
Yes.
We just have to be careful what we are sharing.
Yes.
And be open and honest about what's going on to receive the help.
Right.
So I started, I was a program director as I was going back to the story for Mental Health Association,
Okay.
running a job training program with no experience in mental health. But something about that director saw something in me, and I did that for 4 years.
Okay.
And then opportunity happened where I left that program and became a day therapist through Northwestern Human Services of Philadelphia. That's now Americaid.
Okay.
And I was there for a while, and I was working through an agency at that time while I was still doing radio, both careers,
Wow.
and doing what I was doing. That company saw something in me and wanted to hire me full-time, but I didn't want to work for them full-time. And then an opportunity came up for a union position with a company called the Consortium in Philadelphia.
Okay, I've heard of them.
Yeah. So I got hired with them, and I've been there going on next year will make 20 years.
Really?
Working at the Consortium as a union worker. I'm proud to be a union worker in the city of Philadelphia, 1199C.
I was with them before.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I've been working with them in mental health, and I work in forensics mental health, which I deal with people that have somewhat of a criminal background, or they on probation or parole that have primarily suffer from paranoid schizophrenic.
And that's what forensic mental health means, because
People
you know
that are in the-
CSI, people know
Right,
about that
right,
now.
yeah.
So you explain more of
Sure.
that.
I'm not dealing with the dead. I'm not dealing with the dead. These are people that suffer primarily. I serve and speak on cases and help case manage people that have paranoid schizophrenic disorder.
Oh,
Primarily.
wow. Okay.
They may have another diagnosis, but these are paranoid schizophrenic clients or schizophrenia clients from the city of Philadelphia.
Now, are these people that have been on drugs before, or some of them have
They
not
can
been
have
on?
a drug background as
Okay,
well.
Okay.
But
Now,
they're-
do most of them have a background with drugs or no?
A lot of them do.
Okay.
But their main axis, one, is mental health. But there are
Okay.
other diagnoses that they may have.
Right.
So we serve primarily a lot of paranoid schizophrenic clients that are considered disabled.
Okay.
And they may have had some issues with the criminal justice system, and that's why we are forensics, because we have a court system here in Philadelphia called Mental Health Court,
Okay.
which I go in and I speak on the defense side with the defense attorney and with the probation officer. We try to speak on the positives of these clients that we serve, that even though they have a mental health diagnosis, they can snatch victory from their defeats.
Okay, so when you go into court with these people, can their sentence be lightened because of their
Correct.
disability? Okay.
Correct. They get out of jail earlier. They have resources. Mental health court helps assist them to have a lesser sentence where they're on probation or parole, and they're connected to their therapist, they're connected to case management, people that can help them, so they get a lesser sentence from being in jail, going through the mental health court system at the Criminal Justice Center in Philadelphia.
That's great, because as we know, other people can always claim to have mental health problems, which they do. But when it comes to African Americans, it's like we can't claim that when we're the ones with the problems, the PTSD, post-slavery traumatic disorder. Come on, you know. So it's really good that you do that. Now, with what we're so. Mental health is so vast. So what's the difference between like somebody that's bipolar or or just depressed? And
Well, I'm not an expert on the diagnosis, and certainly I can just know from my experience.
Right.
People that are bipolar deal with depression. They have up and down mood swings.
Right.
You know, they can be manic at one point, and then they can be more stable at one point. So bipolar is treatable.
Right.
But they have manic stages. They feel they have sometimes more energy to do things, and then sometimes they just totally withdraw.
Right.
So it's a lot of mood swings with bipolar. Schizophrenia and paranoid schizophrenia, you're paranoid, you're anxious, and they hear voices.
Okay. But you know, a lot of people like that. They may not hear the voices, but a lot of people are paranoid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can be paranoid over any kind of situation.
Right.
But they have been clinically diagnosed
Okay.
under a psychiatrist, not a psychologist.
Okay.
Under a psychiatrist to fit that diagnosis, they have to be evaluated. They have to be tested. Questioned, very, very detailed in an exam from a licensed psychiatrist.
Now, do all of them have to take medication?
Most people that are have been diagnosed by a clinician, they don't have to always be on medications, but the people that I primarily serve do take medications to help them to be more stable.
Okay, and do you think the medication does help?
Oh, absolutely. I believe from my years of experience that medication do help most people depending upon the diagnosis that they have. Psychotherapy works for people too.
Okay.
But when you have a severe mental illness that requires medication to help you be stabilized, it does work. And let me also say, Salima, based on my experience, I'm in trainings all the time. I go to dinners from pharmaceutical companies to know about the medications. There are a lot of injectable medications out here that people who can't take pills, they get an injection. It helps them to stay stabilized.
Okay.
It stays in your system for 30 days, and it works. So being on medication does help people to live better in society.
See, I'm not big on medication. I'm just not. Because I know Big Pharma. I know what they do. I know what chemotherapy doesn't work. I know it's $1 billion industry. It doesn't work. And they know it doesn't work. So I'm not all for medication being the first thing. Diet, what you put in your mouth has so much to do, because if you give somebody all these drugs and, like, for instance, they eat a lot of sugar, that's going to affect them mentally.
Sure.
Nobody ever talks about that.
Sure.
Now, the medications that your clients get, is this something they have to be on for the rest of their lives, or is it in any way that they can get off the medications ever?
That's a very good question. Based on my experience and the trainings and constantly being trained, most people who have been clinically diagnosed under a psychiatrist, depending upon the illness and condition, are usually on medications for the rest of their life.
Okay.
But they make changes with those medications.
Okay.
Adjustments that are needed based on side effects, based on if it's really working for them. But I am here to say that most of my clients who are on medications and they're stabilized, they do better in society.
Okay.
Because
I
if
know
they're not on those
sometimes
medications, they can become very bizarre.
I was going to say that I know that sometimes people that go off the medications, they do all kinds of crazy things. So, and if they're off the medication, if it's court ordered, they can even go back to jail or go to
Correct.
jail if they're not
Correct.
on the
Correct.
medications.
And you have to understand, and to everybody that's watching your show, this is a chemical imbalance in the brain.
Right.
I mean, it's a chemical imbalance in the brain, and there's nothing wrong with people who take medications to help them be better. I have seen clients who have done really terrible,
Right.
that were not on medications, and as soon as they got on the right regimen to help them to get stabilized, they were able to be with their family, they were able to go back to school, they were able to work again.
Okay.
They were able to do meaningful things with their life, and we cannot judge people and look at people because they have a mental illness.
Right.
I mean, some of us who think we're quote unquote normal, are
Or
not.
not. Exactly. I know
We
a lot
all
of
got
people
something
not.
that we're dealing
Right.
with.
I mean,
But-
we could look at the White House for that, but that's a whole different story.
Sure. So you know, medications do help people, but it depends
Now, do you
on,
ever, and I appreciate you saying in my experience, because it's not like, oh, I know everything, but in your experience, have you ever, and I'm just asking, dealt with what people eat? Have you ever dealt with the nutrition value? Because nutrition has a lot to do with your brain also.
when professionally speaking, no, I
Okay.
haven't. But we connect people, our clients and people, to nutritionists and nurses and people that are
You do.
specialized in that area.
Okay.
Because diet is important too with
Yes,
everything.
yes.
Whether you're mentally ill or not, it's
Yes,
important to
yes,
eat right.
definitely.
You know,
definitely.
because you can eat the wrong things that throw you off.
Exactly.
So, but professionally on my side, I don't really deal with that specifically, but I refer people
Okay.
if they need that
Right.
for diet and things of that nature.
Okay. Yeah, because that's so important. Like, I'm eating sugar today. I don't normally eat sugar, but Joe brought me a cake for my 100th show.
Hey, congratulations. Yes. It's
So I'm
good.
eating
Yummy,
sugar
yummy,
today,
yummy, yes.
but tomorrow I'm going to fast for
Sure,
3 days,
sure,
get the sugar out of my
sure,
system.
sure.
So everybody knows that sugar can affect you in such a bad way mentally if that's so much a part of your diet. So I'm glad that you do refer people into that.
Sure.
So also now let's get back to your radio show. You have a great speaking voice. Of course,
Thank
I
you
have
so
not listened
much.
to your radio show, but I'm going to.
Thank you.
So tell me more about that.
Okay, well, 14 years ago, God gave me a vision along with my business partner, Mr. Vince Horsey, to create an internet radio station online.
Okay, so your show's on the internet.
On internet radio.
Okay.
Yes, of fmhdmsradio.net, which is where people can find the link for the radio station online.
Okay.
So 14 years ago, God gave me a vision to create a radio station online. We realized that terrestrial radio was changing,
Okay.
and radio has changed tremendously over
Yeah,
the
because
years.
14 years ago, the internet wasn't as big as it is now. So there had to be a vision from somewhere for you to decide to do something like that 14 years ago.
So we created an internet radio station, and I am a personality on the station as being the manager and producer as well.
Okay.
With other personalities. It is a commercial station online where people can buy their own shows, and I actually teach people the industry as well.
Oh, you do?
And I host two of my own shows called The Songbook of Gospel and The Soulful Sounds of Afternoon Delight, which is an R&B show.
Okay, now where can somebody go to hear that?
They can go to www.fmhdmsradio.net is the link. That's fmhdmsradio.net. You can Google us. We'll come right up. And they could go there and listen to us at 128K digital.
Oh, well, now with that being internet, they can hear it anytime.
Anytime, 24 hours a day.
Oh,
Programs
great.
that are on the air and also hear me live as well.
Okay, and now, so what are some of the things you talk about in your program?
Well, my show, the gospel show, is very inspirational and encouraging. I interview artists. I share inspirational and encouraging moments. I feature a lot of local artists, music, as well as national artists on my show. I do exclusive interviews, which you have an opportunity of being on my show to spotlight you.
Of course,
We're looking
thank
forward to
you.
that. And, just sharing words of encouragement through music.
Oh,
We know
wow.
that music is therapeutic for people.
Yes, it is. Yes,
All
it is.
types of music.
Yes.
But in particular, I specialize in the gospel and R&B.
Okay,
The gospel show that I host helps people spiritually.
right.
The R&B show helps to smooth them out a little bit in the afternoon.
Okay.
So I realized from doing a study of music and the type of audience that I wanted our radio station to be, which is a 6-format radio station, not one. Gospel, jazz, R&B, talk, inspirational messages, house and club, and church ministries.
Oh,
You can
okay.
come to my station and get a variety.
Right, because you just
To
touched
reach all
on
types of
everything.
So,
Right.
so that's what I've been doing for 14 years on internet radio, as well as teaching people the industry. That's how I came up with this manual
Right.
some years ago when I started college of how to become an effective radio broadcaster. The do's and the don'ts. What is right? What is not right? And I've written this
Give me just
manual.
a couple from my audience, a couple of things that you would say about if someone comes, Simone, I want to be on the radio. Because I've had someone come here to me and ask me, Salima, I want to be on TV. How do I do? And they didn't have that personality. And I had to tell them that, honestly.
No, you have to
because
tell them that.
Not
It's not-
everybody has
Sure.
it. So what would you recommend if somebody came to you and you didn't see that in them? Would you lie to them, or would
No.
you? How would you handle that?
Integrity is key. That's one of my commandments in the manual.
Okay.
Got to be honest. I am only interested with people who really want to do this.
Okay.
Because they will be
Okay,
wasting their time.
now, what if somebody really wanted to do it, but you didn't see it in them? That you knew that they didn't have it.
I would not waste my time.
Okay.
Honestly, I would just tell them that I can't help you.
Okay.
People that come to me that want to do this, they have some type of talent.
Okay.
Whether it's in the voice, something about their personality, something about their style.
Right.
And I interview them thoroughly to make sure this is something that they really want to do.
Okay.
Just because you have a good speaking voice don't mean that you're going to be a good broadcaster.
Exactly.
Just because you look good don't mean that you're going to come across on TV.
Exactly.
So I'm interested in helping those. I don't really want to push people away, but I'm only interested in those who really want to do this.
And you know, like you
seriously.
said, integrity means a lot, and you do have to be honest with people, because I know years ago I used to be a people pleaser. It didn't help me and didn't help other people. And like I said, when the gentleman came to me saying that he wanted to do what I do, I knew that he didn't have it in him. And I did tell him that I didn't think that this was the career for you.
Right.
But people lied to him, and he went on and tried it anyway, and it was a flop.
See?
And he put money in it, and he was very embarrassed because he found out that this wasn't something that he could do.
Yeah. And us who work in the industry, and for people that are watching your show, you have to be honest about really what you want to do. You have to look, when you're looking at people's talents and gifts, you have to look at the strengths.
Right.
And you have to look at the weaknesses.
Right.
I'm focusing on the strength areas that if this is something you really want to do.
Right.
Is this a career that you really want to go into?
Exactly.
And when I speak and I lecture and I talk to students, I say, if you're not serious about this, you can pack your bags right now and leave, because you're wasting your time and you're wasting mine.
Exactly. And you know, I did tell the guy, I said, maybe you want to come and watch my shows or help with my shows or even be a crew on my show so you could see what I do. So maybe you could decide if this is for you.
Absolutely.
But he didn't want to do that. He just wanted to boom into his own show, and it ended horribly for him.
Yeah. So you know, I came up again with this manual, How to Become an Effective Radio Broadcaster, from my years of experience.
Okay.
What good is a career that you're in if you cannot give back?
Right.
To
Exactly.
teach others what you have learned over the years.
Right.
This is something that I've studied over what was right to do, what was wrong to do. Not that, you know, we're perfect in this industry. We strive for perfection.
Exactly.
But these things work. And God gave me, the Creator gave me this vision. He gave me this vision, and He gave me these commandments that I came up with that are very, very effective. And I just want to share a couple of them if you allow me
Oh,
to.
sure. Yes, please
And they
do.
work for people that are interested or in this industry. One, I said, is integrity.
Right.
But my first commandment, just like there are commandments in the Bible, there are rules and regulations that we all live by.
Right.
There are rules and regulations for broadcasting.
Okay.
One of my commandments is be prepared.
Okay.
Just before you started your show, you were prepared.
Right.
Those are one of my commandments. And I talk about, you know, the opportunity of you knowing your audience and getting the right information, knowing that what you're going to talk about. And then another one of my commandments I just want to share is about, you know, understanding your audience and being friendly, being conversational.
Right.
And one of my commandments that I really focus on a lot, of course, is integrity. But I also focus on this one when I lecture. You sell yourself and you sell your radio station or your TV station.
Sounds good.
People buy into you because they believe in you, your
Right.
personality and your style.
And believe it or not, that's our time. And I thank you so much for being on my 100th show.
I'm so delighted. Congratulations.
Thank you so much
We
for
need to
being
place
on
a
this
$100
show.
seed for that 100
Yes,
show.
thank you so much.
Somebody needs to do it.
And thank you guys for tuning into this wonderful show. And remember, love yourself, love others, and don't forget to stretch. I always stretch. It feels so good. Thank
Yes.
you guys. Bye-bye. 100 show.